John Beltran along with Brian Nickel and Kevin Rohde as we approach kickoff of this afternoon's 3A quarterfinal between the Mustangs and the Frederick Warriors. And the teams are about to meet there at midfield for the coin toss. Brian, we know that one thing is true, that for the Mustangs to be successful today, they just have to pick up their level of play from a week ago.
Yeah, that's for sure. They've got to pick up their offensive play, as you said. Playing like they did last week won't cut it. They're going to have to get some points on the board against this Frederick Warriors team. They're averaging 44 points a game, but Fort Morgan has been a good defensive team this year, so the Mustangs, but they've got to get rolling on offense.
Last week, Coach Davies mentioned that wind was a factor. I don't know if it's as much of a factor this week. We know the temperature is certainly cooler than it was a week ago. Kevin, I don't know if Fort Morgan can get a lot better defensively, considering they kept Green Mountain out of the end zone, knowing that this Frederick team can run the ball, so the offense is going to have to pick up their game like Brian was talking about here.
Right, but they're going to have to change their game plan on defense. They can't let Frederick get down and have first and goal 3 times and expect to shut them down and have them shoot themselves in the foot like Green Mountain did. I'm just interested to see which Fort Morgan team shows up. Is it going to be the team that played Roosevelt tough and physical and probably played their best game? Or is it going to be the team that played the last 3 games where they just kind of played down to the opponents and didn't really show up?
Well, here's what I'll say about that. The Northridge game, they had a great half. They're up 17-0, up 23-0 in the third. And you're right. At 5 turnovers, and they beat a team that was 7 notches lower than them in the rankings, 23-20. Holy Family, they had a big lead in that game. They won 49-30, so they controlled that game. I thought they played a lot better against Holy Family than they did against Northridge. But then you talk about last week, they come out strong in that first drive. And then I'll still say the key play. They're near the red zone. It's 2nd and 1, and they send Braden on an end around or a reverse. They lose 10 yards, and the offense never got back on track after that, with the exception of that first drive of the second half. So I think it's going to be the team that started off really well against Holy Family and then pretty much sustained that throughout the course of the game. Are they going to score 49 points, though? That's going to be the tough thing, because we know this Frederick defense played better in round 1 than they did during the regular season when they routed Pueblo County. So that's the other thing. That's the big challenge. But I think the question you asked, Kevin, is the most relevant. That is the most relevant, because we've seen multiple Fort Morgan teams this year, especially later on in the year. And the team that we saw in the first half of the season was not a very good first half team and a very good second half team.
Right, and I think if Fort Morgan comes out and plays to their capabilities, it should be a really great game that's going to be decided probably by a touchdown. That's my thinking.
The opening kickoff is brought to you by Buildings by Design. When it comes to experience, Buildings by Design is the best in the business. Quality, commitment, and experience makes Buildings by Design the only choice when it comes to your next project, and the Mustangs will kick it off. And watch out for Parker Ayers. He is a big threat over there. And LaFay Purcell, their leading receiver, is also one of the returners. Brandon Marquez will kick it off for Fort Morgan. Both teams at 9-1. Frederick, as I mentioned, defeated Pueblo County. The Mustangs with a 14-0 victory in the opening round of the playoffs against the number 14 seed Green Mountain on the right hash mark. Game time temp, I believe. Let's see, I was looking somewhere, thinking about 50 degrees. Game time temperature 52 degrees on this sunny Saturday. It was gloomy this morning, but not right now. And by the way, the Brush Beat Diggers on 10-10K. I saw you on that 2A semifinal against Severance. A pooch, and the ball will land at the 26-yard line, picked up at the 24. This will be a fake reverse and an excellent tackle back at the 23. It's actually a loss on the return there by Cooper Anderson. And the Mustangs were there. They were not fooled. And Charlie Langford, one of the Mustangs, in on the play.
Yeah, nice job there by the Fort Morgan Mustangs. They, as you said, not fooled on that fake reverse. So
the quarterback is Bryce Conover, and the two running backs combining for 2,200 yards are Parker Ayers and Cruz Zamudio. Bunched in tight, 1st and 10. We'll call it at the 24-yard line. in motion, and there is the pitch to Parker Ayers in a big hole across the right side, and Marquez has him at the 38-yard line. If Marquez doesn't make the tackle, he's gone because he was the only Mustang out there once he got through the line. A gain of 14 and a first down for Frederick.
That's that single wing they run. They have someone in kind of a wing back or tight, and he goes in motion, and you have to just read the blocks to figure out which guy's getting the ball and where they're going.
First and 10 for the Warriors at their own 38-yard line. Good first play for them. Again, same formation with one setback. Under center is Conover. Zamudio is going to get the handoff on the counter, and he's hit after a gain of 1. And an excellent defensive play by Levi McCoy. Second down and 9 to go. And that's what you were talking about there, Kevin. Just read the hole.
Right. The blockers are still going to block to open up the hole that they want the running back to go through. So you just have to read those blocks. Everybody's got to play their assignment. You can't get big eyes and follow where you think the flow is going.
Frederick in all white with the gold helmets, the Mustangs in their black helmets, the maroon uniforms, and white pants this time. Second down and 9 at their own 39 for the Warriors. Opening drive of the game, a little bit of a different formation now. In motion is Ayers. There is the pitch to that, I believe, is Purcell, and he breaks out of a tackle there to the 45-yard line. Check that. That's going to be River Lakey. Lakey's able to pick up valuable yardage and a gain of about 7 before the tackle was made, and they've got multiple weapons back there, Brian.
Yeah, they do. They've got about 5 or 6 guys that'll take it to the house on them. Parker Ayers is their big guy, though. He's got 25 touchdowns this year, 1,241 yards. So.
Think of that in a high school season. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And this is not a bad league. All right, there's some good competition. Third down and 2 to go from their own 46-yard line. Everybody bunched in tight. In motion to the right is Zamudio. There's the pitch to Parker Ayers, and he dives towards the first down marker behind his right guard before the tackle was made over there by Jesse Campa. But it is a first down, a gain of 2 for the Frederick Warriors, and that's all they needed.
Yeah, the way they do that, he pitches that ball back to Ayers, and then he leads up in there as a blocker also, does Conover.
One here, Frederick is taking their first time out.
That is a surprise. I'm not sure why. I mean, because it's obviously not an injury timeout. They just took it on their own. Winner of this game will take on the winner of the game between the 2nd seed Lutheran and the 7th seed Palisade. That game is being played right now as well in Parker. And we know in the top half of the bracket, the top seed is Roosevelt taking on the 8th seed Holy Family. And
Meade is at Durango.
Thank you very much. That's the 4-5 matchup. And I think Durango is going to get the best of them there, Kevin, because Meade has not played their best football, and Durango is the defending 3A champion and looking pretty good as a 4 seed. That could set up a very interesting semifinal if the top seeds hold there, Roosevelt and Durango. At least on that half of the bracket. First and 10 for Frederick. Right hash mark at their own 48-yard line. Opening drive of the game. Bryce Conover is going to pitch it over to Ayers. Jitterbugging his way across the 50 and tackling him from behind is Jesse Campa at about the 49-yard line, picking up about 3, second down and 7, and they're going to do that all afternoon. There's no doubt about that. Passing is going to be very limited in terms of attempts.
Yeah, they don't do much passing at all. They only average 85 yards a game, so 9 touchdowns through the air. So they're strong points that run.
This is going to be a quick game, I'll tell you that, the way it's going. 2.5 minutes in, second down and 7 at the Mustang 49-yard line. And the D-back once again is River Lakey. This will be a misdirection to Ayers. Back through the middle. He's got a first down. He dives to the 42. The Mustangs had a chance to get him right around the line of scrimmage, but again, he found his way through the hole. It's a gain of 7, and the sticks move for the Frederick Warriors. That's 4 carries for 26 yards for Parker Ayers.
Yeah, he's a workhorse, and their line's doing a good job of controlling the line of scrimmage. Fort Morgan's inside box is going to have to toughen up.
Turnovers. You got to come up with a turnover or 2 in this game as well. At the 42-yard line of Fort Morgan. First and 10 for Frederick. In motion is Zamudio. Play action, rolling to his left is Conover. Deep up the left side, receivers out there. And is it intercepted by Marquez? I believe it is. Or no, yes, it is. It is intercepted by Marquez at the 5-yard line. Looked like the receiver tried to frame that he had the ball after Marquez picked it off. And that's a huge turnover here in the first drive of the game as Marquez picks it off.
And it seems like Frederick's the type of team that runs and runs to set up the pass. And, the receiver right at the end was behind our defenders, but the pass just was a little bit short, and we were able to catch up in a great play by Marquez to bring that down.
I'm surprised they didn't go underneath. You figure, there's a lot of traffic out there. 1st and 10 for the Mustangs at their own 5-yard line. Yeah, you go with what works, and they got away from it for that one play, and it helped the Mustangs there with 8:38 to go in the opening quarter. Looking over to the sideline for play instructions. The outside receiver to the left is Braden Fajardo. Out of the pistol, play action. Wheatley to throw. Over the middle, the pass is caught by Marquez across the 20, and he stumbles to the 23. That's the way to get out of a hole if you're the Fort Morgan Mustangs. It's to the 24, gain of 19, and a first down for the Mustangs.
The flag is laying almost limp, just barely moving, so that bodes well for our passing game, and the Mustangs can keep Frederick on their heels.
1st and 10 for Fort Morgan. The running back to the left of the quarterback, Briggs Wheatley, is Frank Ortega awaiting the snap. Man, that's a huge play. I mean, you get 2nd and 8 or 2nd and 10, that changes everything. And remember, Wheatley didn't throw for much last week, so already the passing game after just one play looks pretty good. Now out of the pistol as they realign, this will be the handoff to Ortega. Stumbles, running wide to the left across the 25. He's got a seam, but is down at about the 28-yard line. I thought he had more there, but they're going to give him 5 yards, so a decent gain, even though he had to run quite a bit laterally to his left. 2nd down and 5.
Yeah, some of the best defense is a good offense. Keep that other offense off the field. So we'll see if Fort Morgan can have a nice sustained drive here and get in the end zone.
2nd down and 5 to go for the Fort Morgan Mustangs at their own 29-yard line. Under 8 minutes to go in the opening quarter. Pistol formation. Ortega's not going to get it. A pass out caught by Fajardo to the 30-yard line. A first down, and he backs his way to the 36-yard line and then thrown down to the turf right there by Cooper Anderson. But it's a gain of 7. They only needed 5, and the Mustangs have their 2nd first down here on this drive.
That worked a lot better than last week when we threw one to Fajardo, where he was almost hit immediately.
That's a good point. They waited. The other receiver waited to make the block until the ball was caught by Fajardo, and they set it up a lot better. At their own 36-yard line, 1st down and 10 for the Mustangs. Now we're under 7 minutes to go here in the opening quarter. Shotgun with the running back to the right of the quarterback. Handoff Ortega up the middle. Tries to break out of a tackle and only gets a yard. That's excellent penetration there by the Frederick defender. And that was Andrew Sontag, a senior, 6', 205, 2nd down and 9 to go. 2nd carry for Frank Ortega.
Yeah, they have some pretty heavy fellows there on their defensive line. Their left defensive tackle or lineman is 265 pounds and number 90, and he's a horse.
You anticipate a shootout, but the way the game's going so far, we could have a lower scoring game. This was 41-21. Fort Morgan won last year on a Thursday night. 2nd down and 9, naked backfield. Back to the two-step drop, out to his right, incomplete, and that was going to be a tough play to make. Fajardo, the intended receiver at the 39, but that was really more of a wasted play because Frederick covered it well. 3rd and 9 to go for Fort Morgan.
Yeah, they dropped back and had 7 people in coverage. A nice zone setup that just didn't allow Briggs to find anyone open.
Well, they're making the adjustment, just like Fort Morgan has to make adjustments defensively for that strong running game that the Warriors have. 3rd down and 9 at the 47-yard line. 2 receivers split out to the left, 1 to the right. Ortega still in that backfield. Play action. Wheatley to throw. Wheatley steps up, throws, and that's going to be incomplete. Broken up at the 48-yard line, intended for Marquez. And Tegan Bone knocked it away, and the Mustangs will have to punt.
Yeah, and that was about 6 inches away, 5 inches away from being an interception, and he would have ran for a while with it.
Yeah, because there was nobody directly in front of Bone. However, the Mustangs at least flipped the field here.
Yep.
Because they could pin Frederick back. Now, Chase Redding into punt, standing at his own 21-yard line. Perfect snap. And that is a little bit of a wobbly punt. It's a short one. It'll be fielded at the 30 and taken and breaking a couple of tackles all the way to the 40-yard line. They didn't flip the field. A nice return there by Cooper Anderson, as the Mustangs missed a couple of tackles there, and it quite didn't have enough reach on that particular punt. It only went for 23 yards, and Frederick has pretty good field position.
Well, and we're going to have to do something to keep them from just getting a first down every couple plays and march down the field. Remember, the first drive, they had no difficulties till they threw it deep and we picked off the pass.
1st and 10 for Frederick at their own 40-yard line. No score, as we have 5:40 and change to go in the opening quarter. Under center, Conover. This will be the misdirection running left, and stutter stepping is Zamudio. Across the 40 to the 43. Campa had some penetration, and also in on the hit was Colin Duckworth. 2nd down and 7 to go for Frederick. Zamudio with a 2nd carry for 4 yards. Still don't have a total feel for this game, but you know that Frederick's going to be successful on the ground because that's what they've done all year, and Fort Morgan did complete a couple of passes. At their own 43-yard line, Zamudio now in that backfield with Lakey on 2nd down and 7. This will be a counter to Parker Ayers running to his right, slips out of a tackle, and is tackled at the 47, gains 4 yards. A couple of Mustangs there to make the hit, including Levi McCoy. And also around the football, Adolfo Hernandez. So 3rd down and 3. And, Kevin, that's exactly what Frederick wants.
That's right. 3-4 yards in a cloud of dust and just wear you out and demoralize your defensive linemen. And the offensive linemen, all they have to do is fire straight off and block somebody. So Fort Morgan's going to have to get a little more help on that run.
I'll tell you one thing they won't do is throw deep after that first pass that was intercepted. Anything they throw, even though they'll run on this play, will be underneath. 3rd down and 3. In motion is Zamudio. Check that, Ayers. And now a timeout is called. 2nd timeout called by Frederick. This is surprising. You wonder what's going on there.
Yeah, I don't know. They're seeing something. Maybe Fort Morgan's got a little different setup on defense that they hadn't seen, and he's not real sure what he wants to do. But I didn't think the clock was running down, but it could have been.
They weren't in the huddle for that long.
No.
I don't think that was a time situation.
And I don't know exactly, how much high school football quarterbacks can come up to the line and realize where the play is going and realize that they're in some sort of defense that takes advantage of that play.
Well, right next to that Mustang logo in the middle of the field. 3rd down and 3 as Frederick is down to 1 timeout at the 47-yard line. Another big situation. Both teams had a couple of first downs on their opening drives. On 3rd and 3, Conover on the counter to Ayers. He's got plenty of room across the 50-yard line to the 47, and it's a 1st down on that nice cutback and a gain of 6 for Parker Ayers. That's his 6th carry of the game for 36 yards. Alcon Ortiz made the tackle.
Yeah, he does a nice job keeping his head up and running. He cuts back and finds that hole, and he's tough to bring down.
Very patient.
Yeah.
Very patient, and that's the key to this Frederick offense. At the 47 of Fort Morgan, Lakey right behind the center. He's got the football, and a hole is closed quickly, running to his right. Got to the 44 for a pickup of 3. The Mustang tackler was Ortiz again. 2nd down, we'll call it 8. That's barely across the 45, so it's a short 8 off Lakey's 2nd carry here in the opening quarter. On that right hash mark, 1 receiver out to the right. 0 for 1 is Conover with the interception by Marquez. Man in motion to the left. There is the pitch left. Lakey's got a seam to the outside, and he breaks out of a tackle down at the 40-yard line for a gain of 5. Marquez made the hit, but that's a solid 5-yard run there for Lakey. 3rd down and only 3 yards to go. And I think Frederick is executing their offense exactly the way they want.
Yep. Yeah, they're wanting to run the ball. You're not going to see them pass very much, as they learned on the first pass attempt. But Mustangs are, it's been that way all year, though, with this run defense.
Gentlemen, we played less than 15 minutes of football in real time, and there's under 3 minutes to go in the opening quarter on 3rd and 3 from the 40-yard line. Conover, there is the pitch, and stutter stepping and being tackled at the 39 is Zamudio. He had nowhere to go. Too much penetration. David Keller was one of the Mustangs in on the play. Now it's 4th down and 2, and Frederick obviously is going to go for it.
Yeah, they got too good a running game not to be able to pick this up, I would think, get it into the hands of Ayers.
4th down and 2 at the 39 of Fort Morgan. A huge play here in the opening quarter. In motion is Ayers. He's got the pitch, runs to his right, 1st down. He fumbles the ball, and I think the Mustangs recover it. Did they hold on to it? Fort Morgan was on top of it, or did Frederick get a lucky bounce at the 35? I think Frederick actually got the ball back. Oh, they got the ball back. It was recovered by a lineman in Ramon Ruiz, but Fort Morgan had that fumble. Oh, man, they had the recovery, but instead the sticks move, and that's a huge play in this game.
Yeah, that's a shame. They could have used that because, as you said, Frederick's just marching down the field.
Well, it would have been the second turnover in as many drives, and instead they continue to move the ball. It started at the 40-yard line, so they've traveled 25 yards in the waning moments here, the opening quarter, with 1:44 to go, no score on 1st and 10. Well, that ball was loose, and 2 Mustangs were right there, and they could not fall on it. Man in motion. There's the pitch. Looks like an option. They're going to try to throw the ball deep up the right side, and that is going to be caught. And at the goal line, Fajardo never turned around. And it was caught over there by Alex Stern, the leading receiver. Oh, man, a gain of 33. They're going to mark it at the 2. 1st and goal for Frederick on the option pass that was thrown by Tegan Bone. Boy, you just never know what they're going to do. And he was setting up for the option, and Fajardo had great coverage, but had he turned around, it would have been a pick.
Yeah, he didn't look at all. I wonder they didn't call pass interference on face guarding.
1st and goal at the 2. This more than likely will be Parker Ayers with the carry. In motion is Zamudio. Hand off to Ayers, running to his right, and he's in there. He didn't have to do much. He just stutter-stepped once, and he had a hole through the right side. And Frederick on the 2-yard run by Parker Ayers, his 8th carry of the opening quarter, is on the board. They lead 6-0.
And that's kind of what they do. They run that play action and pass, and they have success with it. You know, the first time they tried it, we kind of caught them in it, but this time they were deep and just executed better.
Now the extra point to be attempted by Bone, who had the option pass. Awaiting the snap. It's there. The kick is up, and that is right in between the uprights. With 58.8 seconds to go in the first quarter. Frederick 7, Fort Morgan nothing. You're listening to the 2021 Colorado High School Football Playoffs on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. 60-yard drive as the Frederick Warriors get a 2-yard run by Parker Ayers. They're on the board 6-0, and now 7-0 after the extra point. And now to kick it off once again will be Bone, and this will be an onside kick, and Giannis will fall on it at the 42-yard line, a squib. And I'm surprised it was squibbed. More of a squib than an onside, but Fort Morgan has great field position, and maybe it will be a shootout if you're going to give them the ball right there.
Yep. A little bit of updates on other games. Brush is down 7-0 in Severance. Roosevelt's up 7-0 on Holy Family. Meade's up 7-0 on Durango. And Lutheran is 21-0 against Palisade with 7 minutes left in the first.
Well, the winner of that game, if Lutheran obviously holds on, they'll play the winner of this game. If it's Frederick, Lutheran goes to Frederick. If it's Fort Morgan goes to Lutheran, which is in Parker. 1st and 10 at the 42-yard line. That was a 60-yard drive that Frederick just engineered. There is the option, and taking the ball is Wheatley. A huge hole across the left side of the 45-yard line as everybody was playing Ortega off the fake. He's got a 1st down to the Frederick 40. Let's see if they mark it there. Yep, it's a gain of 18 for Briggs Wheatley. Well-executed play. They were sucking in, Brian, on Frank Ortega.
Yeah, they bit on the fake handoff. A nice job by Wheatley to get outside there and get some nice yardage.
1st and 10 for the Mustangs at the 40-yard line. Kevin?
We talked the last couple games about kind of the absence of Wheatley in the run game and talked about how they were saving him for this. Well, you know, it's time to start using him, and he's a huge weapon and a great runner.
Yeah, you've got to unleash him at the 40-yard line. 5 yards behind center. Ortega to his left. Back to throw. There's a pump. He heaves it deep up the right side. Marquez has got it! 1st down at about the 10-yard line. Oh, a perfectly executed play covered by Zamudio. Give them 30 yards, and the Mustangs are 10 yards away from getting off the 0 column.
Yeah, nice job there. Wheatley was on with that pass. Last week, it looked like he was a little off. Today, that was right on the mark.
Well, he's 3 out of 5 now for
That's-
56 yards, and that's
the
the end of the
quarter.
opening quarter. With the score, Frederick 7, Fort Morgan nothing. It's a 1-minute break on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network.
Are you looking for a new career or to get a promotion in your current job? MCC offers over 40 degree options, plus a variety of programs and classes that can help you towards your new future. Start building your education plan today. Call to schedule an appointment with an MCC advisor at 970-542-3100. Or for more class information, go online to morgancc.edu. That's morgancc.edu.
Are you prepared for the cold winter ahead? Let Bailey Mechanical install a new Lennox furnace that can help to reduce your fuel bill by as much as 50%. New technologies can make your home more comfortable than it's ever been. The difference between a good furnace and a great furnace is how it's installed. So call Bailey Mechanical at 522-0471 or stop by 522 North 3rd Street in Sterling, because the cold weather will be here before we know it. Bailey Mechanical, the one company that offers a 100% satisfaction guarantee.
Eastern Plains Sports Network is B106.
The Mustangs trail 7-0 here as we head to the second quarter. However, we've got a first down and goal situation at the 10-yard line. Wheatley 5 yards behind center. Handoff. Ortega up the middle to the 5. Ortega towards the goal line. Touchdown! Frank Ortega 10 yards away. His second rushing touchdown in as many weeks. And the Mustangs now make it a 7-6 game with the extra point to come. And that was a pretty big hole, Kevin, that Fort Morgan opened up.
Yeah, that was really nice blocking up front. And, you know, it's almost like the defense, by giving up that touchdown, has woke up the offense, and they're playing with, some urgency now. And it's really nice to see.
But again, a short field, a 58-yard drive. That was not a long drive whatsoever. Now a big extra point by Marquez. It's up, and that is a thing of beauty right there on the first play of quarter number 2. And we are deadlocked at 7. We'll keep it right here as the opening points of this game by Fort Morgan brought to you by Western Engineering Consultants. Engineering and consulting services for all of your projects. Strong commitment to their clients' needs sets them apart. Get your project started the right way with Western Engineering Consultants. Well, if you're going to advance in the playoffs, you have to answer.
Yep.
And that's what the Mustangs did right there. They answered, and quite frankly, they did it easier than I thought.
Yeah, what was that, 3 plays?
3 plays. Yep.
And they were all productive plays. An 18-yard run by Wheatley, a 30-yard pass to Marquez. And then the 10-yarder on the run by Frank Ortega. Now let's see what happens on special teams. I mean, Fort Morgan doesn't want to lose the battle of field position like Frederick did right there. Marquez will boot it away with a game tied at 7. That's as many points as we had last week in the entire game. And this one is pooched, and this one is fair caught at the 34. And watch out, because the man who caught it there, Owen Clemenson, was taking off, and I didn't want a Fort Morgan Mustang to make a hit. That would have been a penalty, and got the ball close to midfield.
Right, or a penalty on him for taking off running after signaling the fair catch.
Yep, you don't want to simulate the run there.
So probably a good no call on both of those fouls.
So first down and 10 for Frederick at their own 35-yard line. And ironically, it's a pass for Frederick that set up their first touchdown, an option pass by Bone that went down to the 2-yard line to Alex Stern. In motion is Zamudio. There is the pitch left to Parker Ayers, looking for a seam, and he slips and is down at the line of scrimmage. But Levi McCoy caused that because he was there for containment. He tried to cut on McCoy. Not easy to cut on a guy like McCoy, who is fast and quick.
Yeah, he did a nice job pushing off his defender out there and was able to push Ayers back inside.
And he is a workhorse. That was his 9th carry already. 42 yards on 9 carries. Second down and 10 from the 35. You hold them to a minimal gain here that could set up a passing situation. Conover under center at the 35. He's going to roll out to his right. Still rolling. He's got pressure coming backside. He will throw on the run, and it is broken up by Briggs Wheatley at the 45-yard. Nope, check that. That was broken up instead.
Yeah, it was Wheatley.
It was Wheatley.
Yeah.
Okay, I saw a 28 come out of there.
Yeah, he was the one that got knocked down on the sideline.
Okay, 3rd down and 10. I thought it was, yeah, I see him there now, but then I saw a 28 come up. I misidentified the body once it went down to the ground. 3rd down and 10, and that's why Briggs started this game defensively. He could be one of your better defensive backs, even though he normally doesn't get as much playing time, but hey, this is win or go home.
That's right. You don't want to have a healthy quarterback watching the other team play next week. Not that we want him to not be healthy. Yeah,
3rd down and 10 to go at the 35. Could be a passing situation. Conover, play action, rolls out to his right. Plenty of room. Sets up, throws wide open. Caught 1st down. Zamudio along the sideline at the 48-yard line. Man, Fort Morgan had nobody out there except one player. It's a gain of 13. That's a huge play in this game for Frederick, which, as Brian talked about, has not demonstrated a huge passing game.
Yeah, we kind of got away with a play in the middle of the field. I didn't see the Fort Morgan defender, but he pretty much grabbed the shirt and then tripped up the guy who was going deep down the middle.
1st and 10 for the Warriors at their own 48-yard line. That one stings. You know where Frederick is winning this game, or even though it's tied, but where they're winning offensively is on 3rd down. They've converted quite a few 3rd downs. The Mustangs have been unable to stop them. At the 48, there's the pitch to Ayers. Not much running room. In fact, he's down at the line of scrimmage, and he's down because of a hit made by Timothy Paxton. They all they had to do was crowd that area, congest that area, and Ayers had nowhere to go.
Watch for him to come back with a counter where they fake that action and then hand back to someone coming back the other way, and hopefully Fort Morgan has the discipline to stay home in that situation.
Eaton leads University in that other 2A semi. 14-12 rush down, as Kevin said, 7-0 going to the second. On 2nd down and 10 for the 48. Conover, misdirection, and Zamudio's hit in the backfield for a loss of 2. At the 46, Campa penetrated, and the rest cleaned it up. And now Frederick is calling their 3rd timeout. Their final timeout. And Zamudio has 4 carries for 4 yards.
Yeah, that one I don't understand. That I don't see this as a critical point in the game. You know,
well, it's not.
It's a
You're right.
It's a critical point. You know, obviously you want to continue your drive, but it's not critical where you're going to use your last time out. Critical,
right? Yeah, that is certainly a surprise. Well,
they used that first one early too for who knows why, but apparently they figured they needed to use it. So
yeah.
As much cash as you can.
And as John likes to say, you can't take them with you.
Yeah, you can't take it. And I was looking at Brian's mic there. I wasn't picking it up as much strong, but it's good. You're good to go, Brian.
Thank you.
I just want to get maximum Brian Nickel. And Kevin, I did pay attention to what you said. I didn't ignore it. But you're right. Yeah, I adopted that philosophy from Kevin Rohde. 3rd and 12. Again, they've been doing it on this down. This is the one that's killed Fort Morgan defensively. 3rd and 12 at the 46, shotgun formation. This will be a direct snap to Zamudio, and he gains a couple of yards, and there's a flag down. That might be a hold. And Levi McCoy goes down as well, but the tackle was made by Corey Schlegel. They'll give him the 49, and it is against Frederick, and the Mustangs are going to decline that. What do you think of that defensive stand there?
I think the defense woke up as well as the offense. I think that was a great 2 series for the offense and defense back-to-back.
Here's the deal, Brian. If they hold them down, that one strong dimension, this is Fort Morgan's game, because then they're going to have to do what they did, a trick play with an option pass. Fort Morgan, we know, they have one really strong dimension of the passing game, which has been off lately, not today, and the running game looks like it's been going pretty well. Ortega has a touchdown, and Briggs Wheatley has an 18-yarder, and his biggest carry last week was only 9 yards.
Do you know whether Bone is their normal punter? Because he was the guy that threw that halfback pass earlier, and he's back punting.
He's the punter and the kicker. And it's a low snap. Here comes the pressure, and that's a kick right almost into the ground, but it takes a nice Frederick hop down at the 25-yard line.
Still only a 25-yard punt.
Right.
That should give Fort Morgan pretty decent.
They'll mark it at the 26, so the punt goes for 30 yards, 28 yards, excuse me, exactly, but Kevin's right around the 25-ish range. It'll be shy of the 26, tied at 7, and we have 9:51 to go here in the opening half. We had a 2-yard touchdown run from Parker Ayers, and the Mustangs countered a 10-yarder by Frank Ortega. A berth to the semifinals is on the line at the 26-yard line. On that right hash mark, pistol formation. Wheatley hands it off to Ortega. A huge outside gap to the left, across the 25 to the 30. Ortega's tackle from behind at about the 40-yard line. A beautiful run by Frank Ortega. The blocking on the left side of the offensive line was supreme there, and it's a gain of 14 for Ortega, who went over 100 yards last week, and this week has got 30 yards on 4 carries.
That was a nice run to the outside, and then Frankie had 3 guys, and he kind of weaseled his way through them and got another 8-9 yards.
The Bait Diggers have tied Severance at 7 early in the second quarter in that 2A semifinal. Sorry, Brian.
Yeah, the defender there had the angle on him, and Frankie just outran him around the corner.
1st and 10 at the 40-yard line. Fort Morgan's on their own side of the field. Fajardo in motion to the right, play action. Wheatley, plenty of protection. Setting up, he'll take off with a football, and he's sacked. Yeah, it just... that's a coverage sack, no doubt, because he had plenty of time there, and he was tripped up very nicely by Kamarli Davey. 2nd down and 11, a loss of 1.
He might have been looking for Fernando going across. He was angling across the middle over there, and they had him covered pretty well.
Fajardo and Marquez, the receivers, out to the right. To the left is Chase Redding at their own 39-yard line. This is Fort Morgan's 3rd drive of the game. Frederick has had 3 as well. They got the opening kickoff. Now a naked backfield. 2 receivers split each side. Ramirez on the inside slot to the right. Wheatley to throw again. Steps up over the middle. Caught. Fajardo at the 50. 1st down to the 46-yard line. He reversed his field for a second. He fumbles, and he lands on it. And, yeah, you don't want to get too many more yards when you've already got the 1st down and there's too much traffic there, because that's where you get stripped. And, in fact, he went backwards a couple of yards, but it's a gain of 13 and a 1st down to the 48, but it could have been at the 45.
Yeah, he backtracked there a little bit, and like you said, you start getting stripped when you start. You want that fight in him, but you got to know when you need to go down too.
And that was a pretty ball thrown by Wheatley. Beautiful ball.
Yeah.
Great, smooth spiral there. 1st and 10 at the 48. Shotgun, running back Ortega to his right. There was movement on the left side of the Frederick offensive line, but not into the neutral zone or defensive line. 2 receivers out to the right. Redding is out to the left. In Frederick territory on 1st and 10 with a game tied at 7 in this 3A quarterfinal. Ortega's got it, running right up the middle across the 45 to the 42. He's running hard. Not that he hasn't done it in the previous game. Zamudio was in on the hit along with Tristan Torres. 2nd down and 4 to go for Fort Morgan. Every one of Frank's runs except one have gone for 5 yards or more.
Yeah, Frank's talented young man that we've been watching for the last 4 years, and I was just thinking Frankie was on the team that my son played in tackle football in Greeley.
2nd down and 4 from the 42. Looks like Frederick might be coming on a blitz. No, they're just realigning. Wheatley himself up the middle to the 35-yard line, of 1st down, and backs to the 34. That is Briggs Wheatley for a gain of 8. You don't want to overuse him, and I think they're using him very selectively. 2 carries for 26 yards.
Yeah, you don't want to wear him out, that's for sure. But use him. This is what Fort Morgan has looked like when they've been on, using Wheatley and Ortega and Fajardo, get them all involved in the offense.
And they're doing it now without a real big play. A lot of good smaller plays. 10, 12, 5, 6 yards. 1st and 10 for the 34-yard line of Frederick. Deadlocked at 7, midway through the second quarter. The winner to take on the winner of the Lutheran Palisade game, and Lutheran's up by 3 touchdowns. Handoff Ortega, and he runs out to his left, starting to his right, a gain of about 3. Kind of took that hop step, and an official's timeout. Well, Frederick Warrior comes up with the ball, but that was not a fumble. And Marquez apparently might have some blood. He's going to be taken off the field, and Ortega's also out, so they're going... Well, they only gave him 2 yards, so I guess his knee was down at the 32. Give Frank 2 yards. 2nd down and 8 yards to go at the 32. You got a fresh receiver in there for Fort Morgan, but the primary receiver out to the right is Fajardo out there with Redding. from the 32-yard line. McCoy's the setback to the right of the quarterback. Play action, Wheatley to throw, and that pass is underthrown at the 25-yard line, intended for Redding. And I think he saw Cooper Anderson from behind, and he didn't want to throw an interception, so he threw it into the ground. 3rd down and 8 to go, and Ramirez is out, and Marquez is back in.
Yeah, we'll see what they can come up with. It looked like Redding was open, but
Hey, no, he was open. He was open, and I think if he'd thrown that a little bit stronger, it would have been caught right around knee level. On 3rd and 8 from the 32, Wheatley looks out to his right to throw, sets up a screen. Caught by Fajardo at the 30. A stutter step. He's down at the 29, short of a first down. Only a gain of a couple. They'll give him 3 exactly. And, man, had he kept his footing, it still would have been tough. Frederick was there, and now the Mustangs up to the line of scrimmage are going to go for it. They're going to try to throw this team off and get somebody off the line of scrimmage early. 4th and 5, and there was movement by Frederick, but not into the neutral zone. That's what they were trying to do, draw him off sides. Huge play in this game, deadlocked at 7. 5:08 to go before halftime. Fort Morgan still has all 3 timeouts. Frederick has used up all of theirs. And they might call a timeout here, which would be a good decision for Fort Morgan, and they're going to do so right there. Timeout brought to you by Greg Mullen at State Farm Insurance, Home Auto Life and Health. Greg Mullen is there for you and your family, 842-4555. Well, I will say through 18, 19 minutes of football, this is certainly a more entertaining game than we had a week ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Fort Morgan is showing some flashes of brilliance, and Frederick had some good offense too. So we'll just see how this progresses and which team keeps to form.
Roosevelt now with a 14-0 lead on Holy Family on the top end of the bracket. Meade leads Durango 7-0. And in the second quarter, Lutheran 42, Palisade nothing. I'm telling you right now, I was talking to Kevin Schaefer earlier this week from Colorado Preps, the scoreboard show, coming up 3:30 to 5. To me, they are the number 1 team in this classification because their smallest margin of victory so far against a Colorado school is 40 points. It's like they're playing at another level. So the winner of this game has got their hands full and even more to what they're doing to Palisade right now in Parker.
And speaking of that Roosevelt Holy Family game, Holy Family, the team that Fort Morgan beat pretty handily, was the only team to beat Frederick earlier this season. So, just it's hard to work.
Now, I'm not sure. There's something going on with Briggs Wheatley there. I don't know if it's an equipment issue or they had to call a second timeout, perhaps. That was an official's timeout, but it's one of those towels that he's usually flaps off his waist. This is a big play. They need Wheatley in here for this one.
I'm not sure just what it is.
Well, it's a 4th down and 5 at the 29. He might have to sit out this play. Are they going to rule that?
He has to sit out one play. That's crazy.
Yep, they're going to have to call a second consecutive timeout. That's the only way that Wheatley can get back on the field because of some equipment violation that would have had him sit out for one play. And, he's got to be in there for this particular play, and that's going to be the case. So 2 timeouts have been used, and even 5 minutes to go in the second quarter. Only 1 timeout remaining. That's on the side of the Fort Morgan Mustangs. We are tied at 7.
It'll be interesting when you interview Ty Davey next week to find out exactly what that equipment failure was.
Well, first things first, they got to win this game. But you're right, Kevin. I'm glad you said it like that because I'm as positive as you are. Win this game. You talk to the coach, and you get ready for a Lutheran team that is going to be, based on the way they played this season, not impossible, but you're going to have to force turnovers to beat them.
But you remember, historically, teams that Josh Langford's defenses he's coached have a way of beating teams that are past.
And according to this, they scored 42 points in the opening quarter. 4th and 5 for the 29. Wheatley to throw. 3-step drop out to his right. Wide open. Caught by Marquez at the 21. And he's tackled at about the 20. What a gorgeous throw as the tackle was made by Bone. And the Mustangs are in the red zone after the gain of 9. 3rd reception by Marquez. That's a beautiful pitch and catch.
Oh, yeah, that was beautiful. Let him right out there, and he was open. He had beat that defense.
The one concern I had there was that Fernando was going to turn around too quickly. You notice when he caught it and he turned around, really, you got to secure that ball because it doesn't matter. You're not going to gain much yardage turning around, especially when the defender was right there. On the right hash mark, 1st and 10 for the Mustangs at the Frederick 20-yard line, trying to take the lead for the first time. Trips to the left, one receiver to the right. Ortega's got it in the handoff. He can barely get out of the backfield, maybe half a yard. That's because of the penetration of Camarley Davey. And they'll give him a yard, though. That's strength by that senior running back Ortega. 2nd down and 9 to go for Fort Morgan. And the one thing you want to do, too, is chew up time.
Yep.
Right.
Because Frederick will have plenty of time, even if Fort Morgan doesn't score, but they don't have any timeouts, and they're a running team.
Fort Morgan gets the ball second half, too, so to score right at the end of the half and then get the ball back could be a real bonus.
3:49 to go, 2nd quarter. 2nd down and 9. Play action. Wheatley out to his left. Wide open Ramirez. And he bobbles and makes the catch at the 16 along the sideline. He was tackled almost out of bounds. He bobbled that ball twice, close to a 1st down. Those are smooth hands by Ramirez because that pass was almost a little bit wide, but he kept those hands out there.
Yep.
And I think they're just shy of the 1st down at the 11. It's a gain of 8, but a well-executed play. Nice job by Ramirez staying with that football. That was a hot potato.
Right, and Fort Morgan doesn't go to that blocking back very often.
Yeah, he's got 1 touchdown this year. 3rd and 1 from the 11. Is Wheatley going to take it himself? Handoff, Ortega, and he dives to about the 10. He was hit in the backfield. I think he's going to be short by maybe less than half a yard. Alex Stern had the initial penetration. And if you go for it here, you go under center. I think you go under center, but no, it's short. No yards there for Ortega. He did gain inches, but no yards. So it's 4th down and inches to go. Outside the 10-yard line. We'll call it the 11. It is a shotgun formation. This is the way they scored last week in a 4th and inches. Wheatley to his left, back up the middle, 1st down. And that gave Wheatley running room. That's the advantage. If you don't go under center and you're in that formation 4 or 5 yards away, you can read the blocks and then hopefully create a situation. That time he gained 6 yards.
Plus you have the advantage of Frankie getting in the hole first and blocking for you.
And we have a whistle. The player did not come off the field. I think the official was allowing the player to come off for Frederick. Are they going to call? Are they going to call an offsides against Frederick? Because the player did not come off the field. Illegal substitution because that's 12 players on the field. That'll be a 1st and goal from the 2.5 or 3 yard line. Yeah, they don't have to allow it.
No.
Unless both teams are making substitutions, but Fort Morgan did not. Oh, that's a smart play. I mean, you know what? That's coaching. And that's senior leadership from your quarterback. All right, the ball is sitting at the 3, just inside the 3 yard line. The Mustangs and Warriors deadlocked at 7 in this 3A quarterfinal. In the backfield is Frank Ortega. He's got the lone touchdown for Fort Morgan. He's going to make it 2. To the right of the quarterback, Briggs Wheatley.
He's waiting for the
play clock to run down.
Yep.
In motion to the right is Fajardo. Here's Ortega running to his left, back to the middle, touchdown! He spins into the end zone from 3 yards away. Fort Morgan 13, Frederick 7. I don't know if it's the blocking. I'm not sure what it is, but Frank is finding some running room that maybe in previous games he didn't find as consistently. And, boy, what a nice job as the Mustangs are now looking to make it a 14-7 lead. And a low snap. The kick is up. And with 2:21 to go in the 2nd quarter, the kick is good. It's a 30-second break in this 3A quarterfinal. With the score, Fort Morgan 14, Frederick 7 on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. One of the ways to stop this offense by Frederick is to keep their offense off the field. That's what the Mustangs did there. A 74-yard drive in 7.5 minutes, more than half of the quarter. Fort Morgan leads 14-7, a 5-yard touchdown run from Frank Ortega. Make it a 3-yarder, excuse me. And now the kickoff here from Marquez. This is pooched towards the sideline at the 25-yard line, fielded by Zamudio, running to his left, now back towards the middle. He's down. That is incredible containment by Fort Morgan, and the special teams tackle was made by Noah Aguirre, a freshman, and Kevin loves when freshmen and sophomores make plays like that. It bodes to the future of the program.
Oh, absolutely. Get those kids in there and let them have a chance at success on the varsity field.
Let me correct it. I like it as well. But I gave you the credit because you mentioned that before, that, you know, you just can't play for today. You got to play for years down the line.
That's right.
1st and 10 for Frederick at the 26-yard line. We've got 2:16 to go. Out of the gun, naked backfield. Conover takes off with the football. Room along the left side across the 30. Marquez is out there, and he tried to trip him up, but he goes out of bounds. That's going to be a first down for Conover, almost like a quarterback draw. And the gain will get him to the 40 for a pickup of 14, and the clock stops, so you don't need timeouts if you can do that. For Conover, that's his first carry of the game.
Yeah, they kind of got the Mustangs split out here with 4 wide.
On 1st and 10 at the 40. Back to throw, two-step drop, pass out in the left flat is caught underneath, but a great play right at the line of scrimmage as the pass was caught by Purcell. And that's probably, no, it's a no-gainer. 2 Mustangs, including McCoy, were out there to make the hit, and the clock continues to move. 2nd down and 10. We've got 1:47 to go before halftime. Fort Morgan with a 14-7 lead, I should say, with no timeouts remaining for Frederick.
Frederick just seems to be taking their time.
5 receivers set. Conover to throw over the middle. The pass is caught. First down across the 50 to the 48. It's a gain of 12 as David Keller makes the tackle, and the receiver was Alex Stern, and that will stop the clock for the movement of the chains. Fort Morgan cannot give up a late touchdown here.
No, they need to hold here.
The clock is now reset and moving once again. Empty backfield. 5 receivers set. Conover back to throw. Pressure up the middle. Deep up the left side. Receivers out there. Intercepted by Ortega at the 15. Along the sideline to the 30. Cuts it back to the 35. Ortega running to his left to the 45. Ortega to the 50. Ortega trying to break a tackle and does. Ortega spun down at the 31. A 54-yard interception returned by Frank Ortega. It was overthrown. Wow. What a play. What a second interception by the Mustangs, and that's the play of a safety out there, baby.
Yeah, and they just had Frankie, probably arguably one of the best athletes on the team, just 30 yards downfield, not part of the defense even, just as a safety valve, and he way overthrew that one, and he took that like a punt.
A field goal is a possibility. I'm sure they want to go for the touchdown. Trips to the right, including Mosqueda out there with Marquez. And Braden Fajardo, 1st and 10 from the 31-yard line of Frederick. Again, a 54-yard interception returned by Frank Ortega. He's in the backfield right now. He's not winded yet. And he's got the handoff running to his left to the 30-yard line. Uses the sideline out of bounds. That's exactly what they wanted. At the 25, it's going to be a gain of 5 if they backtrack the football to the 26, and they do. Well, he's not winded at all. He's in incredible shape. That's already his 10th carry. And Ortega has got 47 yards in the game.
You got McCoy in for him now.
2nd down and 5 from the 26-yard line. To the right of the quarterback is Levi McCoy. Trips to the right. The Mustangs looking to make it a 20-7 game. This will be a quarterback draw. Wheatley breaks a tackle to the 20. Along the left side, a first down to the 14. That was a swift move. A gain of 12 for Briggs Wheatley. The clock stops for the movement of the chains. And then it'll restart here momentarily. And that has restarted. 46 seconds to go. Are they going to spike it here? And that's exactly what Wheatley did. Right into the ground at the 14-yard line. If at least you can make it 17-7, as Kevin alluded to earlier, you receive the second half kickoff, and that gives you a huge advantage. Again, when you don't have that dimension, you try to exploit it in a playoff game like the passing game. It's not easy to do so against the third-ranked team in the state.
Yeah, they're not used to that kind of passing, and it's showing right now.
1st and 10 for Fort Morgan at the Frederick 2nd and 10 for Fort Morgan, I should say, at the Frederick 14-yard line. Trips to the right. Empty backfield. Wheatley's going to roll out to his right. He's got plenty of running room. Throws underneath. Caught by Marquez. Touchdown! He caught it at the 1, and there was nobody there. A 14-yard connection. Fort Morgan 20. Frederick 7.
And I was just thinking, Fort Morgan scores here, gets the kickoff, goes down and scores, and we can put a fork in it. It's going to be done.
It's wide open over there in the front corner of the end zone. And then he bobbled it a little bit. I thought he was going to drop
I
it
didn't even
there
see
for a
the
minute,
bobble.
but-
I was so excited. The extra point by Marquez is up, and that is inside the left upright. It's good.
Marquez is good.
38 and a half seconds to go. Brian, when did this drive start? With about minute 4, I believe.
Minute 4, yep.
Hey, so that's 26 seconds.
And 31 yards in 4
right.
plays. And that one was a spike, so basically 3 plays.
Well, remember, I thought they played pretty much like they did against Holy Family.
Right.
I don't know about you, Brian. Are these uniforms, the colors worn by Frederick, similar to Holy Family?
Yeah.
Don't they have the gold?
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. You know, sometimes
Yep.
these things work in unison. Kevin, you got an update for us?
No, actually, I was checking videos that my
Oh,
wife
okay.
was posting.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, no, that's fine. I thought you had an update.
We're just happy to have our son home from college. Luke's back from Wyoming for
Yep.
Thanksgiving break, and I've talked to a lot of parents, a lot of college kids coming home this weekend and this week, and it's a great season and good time to be thankful for
Hey.
everything the Lord has blessed us with.
Kevin, thank you for mentioning that. My son is home as well, and it's tears of joy. You know,
Absolutely.
and that's not your youngest. Your youngest is a senior.
Didn't Pope Hill say that? The only tears you'll cry are tears of joy.
100%, it's the best. Brush leading 14-7, approaching halftime in Severance. Here's the kickoff, and this is high and backing up and fielding it and bobbling it at the 12-yard line and picked up. That is Parker Ayers running to his left, looking for a seam. Giannis is out there, breaks out of that tackle, but a lot of Mustangs along the sideline. Tackle is made almost out of bounds at about the 15-yard line, and we are down to 28.8 seconds to go.
I'd say the referees are definitely letting these kids play some football, and they're not being ticky-tack at all on the calls.
Yeah,
Haven't had a lot of penalties.
In fact, I haven't seen. When's the last penalty we had? It's been a while.
What was that? Illegal participation on Frederick, I believe.
Right.
And we have one holding penalty that Fort Morgan declined. 1st and 10 at their own 21-yard line. And this will be Conover running to his right, swinging it to the outside. Does have running room, and he's out of bounds at about the 33-yard line for a gain of 12. Nice job there by Bryce Conover.
Steps out at the 33-yard line.
Second down.
Good for Frederick, first down.
And first down and 10. Excuse me, it was wishful thinking for a second down, as we have 22.3 seconds to go before halftime. Again, Conover's been picked off twice. He's thrown only 5 passes. He's going to run now to his left. He's going to try to get out of bounds. They have no timeouts remaining. Won't be able to do so. He's across the 35-yard line to maybe the 37 or 38. That'll be the final play here. I don't think they're going to get off another play. It's a gain of 5 for Conover, right up to the line of scrimmage. And we're down to 2 seconds, 1 second. And did they get the play off? They did not get the play off. No, he's going to take off. They did not get the play off. The clock has triple zeros, and the Fort Morgan Mustangs, trailing 7-0 at one point, have scored 21 unanswered points. And they lead the game over the Frederick Warriors 21-7. A short break. We'll come back with a recap and another long halftime show here on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. John Beltran back with Brian Nickel and Kevin Rohde. We're at halftime of this Class 3A quarterfinal. The Mustangs lead the Frederick Warriors by a score of 21-7. Mustang halftime show brought to you by High Plains Bank, your friendly local community bank serving Wiggins and all surrounding areas. Find out more at highplainsbank.com. Well, it was Frederick that got on the board first on the touchdown run by Parker Ayers. That was a 2-yarder, and that made it 7-0. By the way, after that run, I didn't even realize this. After the touchdown run by Parker Ayers, he had 2 carries the rest of the half for 0 yards. I mean, I would have never thought that, especially that was his 8th carry for 42 yards, and that's where the Mustangs turned this thing around. Then all of a sudden, they tie the game on a 3-play drive, and they traveled down the field rather efficiently, and that was a touchdown run from Frank Ortega from 10 yards away, his first TD run, and Fernando Marquez did have an interception earlier in the half. Then later on, Ortega scores from 3 yards away, and Brian, that was that masterful drive, that 7.5-minute drive that Fort Morgan put together. That set the tone for the rest of the half.
Oh yeah, that was a beautiful play, a beautiful drive that they had. You know, and you you have a play like that, like I said earlier, that is one of your best defenses is your offense. If you can stay on the field for 7.5 minutes and then score at the end of that drive, that's that's no better way than that you could have it. So
54-yard interception returned by Frank Ortega set it up for a 14-yard pass from Wheatley to Marquez, and here we are at the break. Fort Morgan leads 21-7. We'll get some thoughts from Kevin Rohde here. When we hit the second half, when we're about to hit the second half, we do have a feature here at halftime. We'll take a 30-second break, and we'll catch our breath. We are at the top of the hour, 3 minutes shy of the top of the hour on Morgan County's B106 KPRB. Brush Fort Morgan. Fort Morgan 21, Frederick 7 on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. John Beltran back with Brian Nickel and Kevin Rohde approaching the second half kickoff here with the Mustangs up on Frederick 21-7. The Mustangs outgaining Frederick 194 to 152. But again, 54 yards in return yardage by Frank Ortega. That's like another offensive play. Wheatley 8 of 11, 103 yards. Ortega 10 carries for 47 and 2 touchdowns. Fernando Marquez, 4 catches for 72 yards. And as I mentioned, Parker Ayers, 10 carries for 42, but only 2 carries after his touchdown for 0 yards. And Bryce Conover really struggled. In the opening half, 2 out of 5, 25 yards and 2 interceptions. In fact, the 33-yarder that went to Alex Stern came from Tegan Bone, and that was on an option pass. And now he will kick it off. Ortega is back deep to receive with Fajardo. And you wonder if this is going to be a pooch or some sort of onside because, they haven't stopped Fort Morgan here.
that's what I was wondering, if they might try to onside, maybe just try to get the ball back.
Yeah, you got to be careful. Fort Morgan does not have the hands team in there at the 48-yard line. I mean, Ramirez is out there. He's got pretty good hands. Let's see what Frederick decides to do. This will be a squib, fielded at the 25. That's Charlie Langford running to the 30, back to the middle to the 35. Hold on to that football, and that's what he did. You could see him. They were trying to strip it right there, and he made a nice play, and they've got good field position again. But the signature drive, not of this game, but of the entire season, had to be that 76-yard drive, or 74-yard drive, I should say, that went 7.5 minutes, and now a Mustang is down at the 36-yard line, and that's Noah Aguirre, who made a nice play on special teams earlier in the game.
Yeah, I hate to see him go down. He popped up and then kind of went down after he tried putting weight on it.
Yeah, now he's getting up. I think it's one of those that you feel the hit, and you want to be careful. There we go. That was just me doing something I shouldn't have done. We are on B106. I am John Beltran with Brian Nickel and Kevin Rohde. Lutheran has already pretty much won their game over Palisade, 49-0 in the third quarter. They scored 42 points in the opening quarter on 10-10 KSIR. Severance has kicked a field goal. Brush leads Severance 21-10 early in the third, and that 3A and that 2A semifinal, I should say. Meade leads Durango 7-0 in the third. Roosevelt of our Holy Family 29-13. And again, we gave you the Lutheran Palisade score. 1st and 10 for the Mustangs at their own 36-yard line. The running back Ortega to the right of the quarterback Wheatley. He's going to hand it off to Ortega, looking for a block. Back to the outside of the 40. Breaks a tackle. Flag is down, and Ortega's down at the 43. And now the Mustangs are going to be backed up. They had no holding penalties in the opening half, and this is holding against Fort Morgan. And even though it was 2 or 3 yards down the field, and they probably didn't need it because it was thrown after he was freed up, that's something that you don't want to start off with. However, what the Mustangs have done all season is rebound from 1st and 15, 1st and 20. They scored on a 1st and 36 against Niwot.
Yeah, they seem to produce under pressure, so we'll see what they do here.
The football's at the 25-yard line. It's a 1st and 21, so it was behind the line of scrimmage. And Frederick has the ability to come back on the ground, not necessarily through the air. Pistol formation, 1st and 10 from the 1st and 21 from the 25-yard line. Play action. Wheatley rolls to his right. He's got pressure, has to take off. He's going to be sacked. Back at about the 20-yard line. That was not good. Now it's 2nd down and 26. Wheatley had nowhere to go. 2nd sack of the game by the Warriors.
Yeah, and this may just let the momentum slide back a little bit Frederick's way. Be much better if Fort Morgan could have scored, but right now they need to get close and not turn them over and give them the ball at midfield.
Ramirez is in for McCoy. 2nd down and 26 to go for the Mustangs at their own 20-yard line off the holding penalty and a 5-yard sack by Frederick. They got to throw him off balance here. Maybe set up a screen. We'll see what they decide to do. Empty backfield. Trips now to the right. This will be a quarterback draw. Wheatley to the 25. Spins. And he's taken down hard at the 27. He was nailed really hard. Gain of 7. But for Wheatley, it's only his 5th carry of the game. 3rd down. And 18 to go as they advance the football to the 28-yard line. And Kevin's right. You just want to make sure you don't give him good field position. Fajardo is the receiver to the left. Redding to the right on 3rd down and 18 from the 28. Fort Morgan with a 21-7 lead in the opening 2 minutes here of quarter number 3. Now Ortega is a receiver off to the right. Wheatley with a 2-step drop. Looks deep up the middle. It is incomplete through the hands of Ortega at the 47. Thrown a little bit high. Well defended. I think that might have been catchable. Maybe a tad too high, and Fort Morgan will have to punt. That's a nice start for the Warriors.
And he threw that into a lot of traffic, but he dropped it over the head of the linebackers, and that was a pretty pass.
Yeah, I think the one thing that Briggs occasionally struggles with is trajectory. Throws a lot of line drive passes, and but that one was pretty good. Redding to punt, standing at his own 13-yard line. Perfect snap, a light rush, and that one is an end-over-end, bouncing at the 42, takes a nice Fort Morgan roll, fielded at the 32-yard line, a cut back to the middle at the 40. They've got daylight to the outside at the 50, with a seam at the 40, a cut back to the 30, now at the 25-yard line, and that's a heck of a return from Cooper Anderson. That went for about 42 yards, and great field position now for Frederick on their first drive of the second half.
And you can just feel the momentum swinging, and Frederick's got a little hop in their step after going into half down 14.
1st and 10 for the Warriors at the Mustang 25-yard line. They're looking to cut this lead in half. It didn't matter whatsoever that Fort Morgan received the second half kickoff. They went 3 and out, and in fact went backwards. Conover is under center. This will be the toss, and running right is Ayers, a cutback, and he's down after a gain of 2. Nice play by Fajardo at the 23. 2nd down and 8 to go. You just got to force a pass. If they score on the pass, you're allowing them to score on their weaker element. You don't want them to score via the run.
Yeah. And they kind of strung that out a little bit and was able to get some help up there and bring him down.
2nd down and 8. Well, actually, if they score on the run, that would be the way they've been doing it all season. At the 23-yard line of Fort Morgan. On 2nd and 8. Conover on the counter. Running left is Zamudio, and he's trapped in the backfield for a loss back at the 24. He tried to jitterbug his way in between Mustangs, but there were like 3 or 4 out there. A 1-yard loss. Levi McCoy and Colin Duckworth. 3rd down and 9 at the 24. This is what you want. Force them into a passing situation.
Did you see that shift that defense went into? It's almost like they know where they're going, and they shift over and just over-outmanned them.
3rd and 9 at the 24 of Fort Morgan. 1 setback. That is Lakey. Conover looking, throwing over the middle of the passes. Caught! 1st down at the 11. That's a heck of a catch by Ayers, defended there by Wheatley. It's a gain of 12. And, man, that was not the best pass, but what a catch there by Ayers. And, man, what a play.
And Wheatley looks like he might have gotten the worst end of that hit.
Yeah, that was a significant collision. The ball's now at the 12. That's a game changer for Frederick here on 1st and 10. Conover is going to roll out to his right, looking underneath. He throws into the end zone. The pass is incomplete. Stern was defended near that back pylon by Fajardo. He overthrew it. 2nd down and 10 to go, and that was a surprise that they decided to throw the football on 1st down.
And that he'd probably go back to that because he had some running room if he wouldn't have thrown that. And Bootleg out to the outside, he's doing a really good job of getting out there open.
On second down and 10 to go for the Mustang 12. Fort Morgan 21, Frederick 7. We have 7:49 to go here in quarter number 3 in this 3A quarterfinal playoff game. Lakey's in the backfield directly behind his quarterback. Conover on the misdirection, running left to Zamudio, and he's going to be nailed in the backfield. There's nothing there. Running to the right side of the Fort Morgan defensive line. And once again, Colin Duckworth had incredible penetration. Third down and 12. Ryan, that play's backfiring now.
Yeah, that hasn't worked for him at all. Zamudio is just not the runner. That's kind of a play that takes a long time to set up, and the Mustangs are too quick to that and shut it down.
A lot of shifting of the feet. Third down and 12 for the 14. Another passing situation. Let's see if they can keep him from getting a first down. Conover under center. Conover is going to roll out to his right. Pressure's coming, throws underneath. It is incomplete. Oh, Lakey was open at the 5-yard line. He is wide open there, but on the run, Conover misfired. It is fourth down. That could have been trouble, Kevin, if he finds his mark.
Well, and that's just what we were talking about. If they end up beating us on their weakness, well, okay, they do that, but let's force them to beat us by passing, and that just goes to show he has a wide open receiver and he overthrows him in the end zone.
He's just not the passer that he needs to be with this run game.
Fourth down and 12 to go at the 14-yard line. Conover, play action, throws out to his right, incomplete underneath, and it would have been way short of a first down at the 10-yard line.
But what did they do? They went away from their strength. They went away from their run.
Yep.
Their strength is their run, and the coaches are out thinking them. It drives me nuts when your strength is to run the ball.
But Brian, they did it on first down. They
Yeah.
went away from the strength on first down, not know, and that's kind of what.
Well, yeah, but they've been passing. I don't know.
Right, no, but I'm with you. One thing is to go away from the strength on second or third down, but you did it on first down, and you create a second and long, and that gives it right back to Fort Morgan. First and 10 at the 14-yard line. Ortega to the right of the quarterback, Wheatley, and there's the play action, and Wheatley's going to take off with the football behind his offensive line on the right side across the 15 to the 19. Nice job by Briggs Wheatley picking up 5 yards. The goal, I don't think, here is to score, just to chew up that clock for a while and get it going into the fourth quarter with a 2-touchdown lead with 6:40 to go.
And going back to what you guys were discussing earlier, I don't want to take anything away from Frederick's coaches because they've done a good job getting to the point where they're 9-1 and they're in the semifinals or the quarterfinals. But you got to look at Fort Morgan and be thankful for the blessing we have of the great coaching staff and the great coaching our kids have gotten over the years.
Second down and 5, and there's the give to Ortega up the middle. First down, he storms right through the middle of that Frederick defense across the 25 to the 26. Might have even stretched the football out to the 27. It's a gain of 8. They're right up to the line of scrimmage.
The offensive line is playing inspired football right now.
Boy, they're running it pretty quickly. There's the handoff to Ortega, right side. He's got a big hole across the 30 to the 34 before he's tripped up for a gain of 7. And the initial hit was made by Tatum Sanders, a sophomore. And they're not wasting any time. They're trying to outcondition this Frederick team at the 34-yard line. They'll slow it down a bit. They've already picked up a couple of first downs here on this drive. For a second down for Fort Morgan. And 3 yards to go. Now letting some play clock run with a 21-7 lead in the third quarter in this 3A quarterfinal. There's the fake. Now fade up the left side. Marquez is out there, incomplete at the 35. It was overthrown. If not, we are talking about a 66-yard touchdown. He had the defender beat by a couple of yards.
Yeah, that was a really well-conceived play. They tried that earlier, and Frederick didn't bite on it, but it's like Frederick's inviting us to throw that little bubble screen because they only have one guy out there covering the 2, and then they sprint the linebacker out when he turns to throw.
That was the exact same play in the quarterfinal a year ago that he found Fajardo in the end zone for the touchdown and the 16-14 lead before the extra point was botched. Same exact play, that little shoulder fake. Third down and 3 at the 34. Let's see if they give it to the running back here. This will be a give to Ortega, stutter stepping right up the middle. I think he's got the first down. He does at the 37. He squeezed his way
Number 26, Frank Ortega on the carry.
for 3 yards.
And keep that clock running.
First down.
Yeah, nice job by that offensive line. As Kevin has said, they're dominating that the line of scrimmage right now. And Fort Morgan needed 3, and they got 3.
First and 10 at the 37-yard line. And the clock is now reading 4 minutes and 51 seconds to go, third quarter. Pistol formation at the 37. There's a pass out in the left flat. Called by Fajardo. He's wide open at the 35. Now to the 50. He's got the left sideline breaking a tackle and out of bounds. That was not defended very well. And he was wide open. And the pickup there.
45-yard line. Gain is good for a Mustang.
Where did that play start, Brian?
27.
Well, I think at the 37, actually. Was it at the 27? Is that open? Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. That's a gain of 28. What happened to my math? Been pretty good at math, but not today. First and 10 at the 45 of Frederick. He did go out of bounds, but yeah. It was a 28-yard gain. Never doubt Brian Nickel, John. What are you doing?
Yeah.
2 receivers out to the right. Ortega now to the left to the quarterback, Briggs Wheatley, looking to extend a 2-touchdown lead. And there's the give to Ortega, stutter stepping, finds a seam to the left along the sideline to the 40. Then he goes out of bounds. The only thing they're not accomplishing here is that the clock keeps stopping, although they did gain valuable yardage. Because at this point, with a 2-touchdown lead, you want to get into the end zone, but moving the clock is that much more important. It's a gain of 7.
Right, and Frederick's just having to choose which of Fort Morgan's weapons are they going to try and stop. And that was exhibited on the last, not this play, but the one before, when they left 2 receivers out there covered by 1 guy who was 15 yards off the ball. They just got to keep everybody in the box to stop that run.
Second down. And 3 to go for the 38-yard line. There is the keeper by Wheatley up the middle. He's dragged down by the shirt tail at the 36. A gain of 2. I like this. You didn't get the first down. Now it's third down and less than a yard, because now you really open up play possibilities for Fort Morgan on this 3rd down and 1. And now the clock does continue to run. We are inside of 3:45 to go. I guess Severance must have picked up a safety. Brush leads 21-12 early in the 3rd quarter. And that 2A semifinal handoff up the middle. Ortega's got a first down, and the ball is loose. It's on the ground. Let's see if Fort Morgan fell on it at the 20. At the 30, I should say. The ball is loose at the 30, and I think Frederick is not indicating they have it. It would be a gain of 6. Yeah, it's a first down for Fort Morgan. Well, both teams have recovered their own fumble, but I think Ortega was able to pounce back on top of that. And it's a gain of 6, and that was just smash mouth football, Brian.
Yeah, straight up the middle. That was nice. Nice blocking there by that offensive line to get him that 1 yard that he needed, plus another 5.
15 carries for 78 yards at the 30-yard line. First down. And 10 for Fort Morgan. Fajardo's in motion to the right. Wheatley fakes. Will take off with a football across the 30 to the 25. And he's tackled at the 24. He kind of pirouetted to the 24-yard line for a gain of 6.
You know, and running a lot of the different plays and kind of opening up your playbook makes whoever's scouting you for next week, whoever sees your film, have to defend against a lot more things as well.
Second down and 4 to go from the 24-yard line, with 2 receivers split out to the right, 1 to the left. It's 21-7 in favor of Fort Morgan, and we have got 2 minutes and 8 seconds to go. Ryan, they're chewing up almost 5 minutes of clock here. Pistol formation at the 24. There's going to be an option right. Wheatley will keep it. He slams into a blocker, and he's down after a gain of 2. I mean, his offensive lineman kind of knocked him back.
At the 22
Yeah, he was trying to make his own hole there that wasn't there, and paid a price for it.
Yeah, he did. Wheatley now still with a very productive game. He's got 67 yards on 9 carries. It's a 3rd down and 1 to go for Fort Morgan. With that football at about the 22. Yeah, we'll call it a 3rd and close to 2. But it's a long one, I should say. On 3rd down, Ortega to the left of the quarterback. There's the direct snap. Wheatley up the middle, drives, and he's got a 1st down inside the 20 to the 19-yard line. Give Wheatley about 3 yards on that play on the 10th carry for him, up to 70 yards. And they might take this into the 4th quarter with possession of the football because we're down to 1:02 to go, and the clock is ticking. In fact, if they eat up clock here, this will be the final play of the quarter because they'll let the play clock run down.
One of the Frederick defenders, lineman number 60, is off on the side being attended, holding his wrist like maybe he injured his lower arm somehow.
That's Hunter Kenny, 5'11", 225-pound junior. 1st and 10 for the Mustangs at the Frederick 19-yard line. Play action, looking to throw, and it's batted down at the line of scrimmage. Batted down by, I think that was Martinez, Josiah Martinez. 2nd down and 10 to go for Fort Morgan. It was intended out in the right flat for an underneath receiver. I didn't see who was out there for Fort Morgan, but a rare incompletion. Well, actually, Wheatley, 1 out of his last 5 for 28 yards. He was on a roll before that.
And they're walking 60 to the ambulance.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, that is
like
Hunter
maybe a
Kenny.
dislocated finger or thumb or
Well,
something.
we had a dislocated elbow last week on the opening drive of the game by a Green Mountain defender. Fort Morgan in firm control here, and they have kept Frederick's offense off the field. This is very similar to what Green Mountain did last week against Fort Morgan. 2nd down and 10, naked backfield at the 19. Wheatley himself up the middle, and he drives to the 15-yard line for a gain of 4.
That'll be the last play of the quarter, I would think.
26 seconds to go, and the clock is ticking. Let's see if Fort Morgan's up to the line of scrimmage, but I think you're right. Why even run another play? We'll take it to the 4th quarter in this Class 3A quarterfinal from Legion Field. The Mustangs, the number 3 seed, lead the 6th seed Frederick Warriors 21-7 on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. Well, we know one category the Mustangs are winning here. Time of possession. As we head to quarter number 4, along with Brian Nickel and Kevin Rohde, I'm John Beltran. And this 3A quarterfinal, the Mustangs lead the Frederick Warriors 21-7. This has been a thing of mastery, Kevin.
It really has. You know, the only thing that created any doubt was that first drive when Frederick went down and scored. And since then, I have all sorts of confidence in Fort Morgan right now.
Well, I mean, when did this drive start, Brian? The yard line was...
Started on their own 14.
That's what I'm saying. Now they're at the 15, so they've traveled 71 yards and have a 2nd down and 6 to go. Make it 3rd and 6 because they had the incomplete pass prior to that. Wheatley out of the shotgun. Play action, looks to throw, and the slant is incomplete. He threw it too high for Marquez. He was wide open, too. Marquez was open. He goes down to the ground hard. 4th down. If that throw is there, that's an easy completion.
Yeah, he was wide open. He had that cut into the middle. They're going to try a field goal, it sounds like.
Well, the thing with a field goal here, you make this, and it is a 3-possession lead, so a field goal is as good as a touchdown here. You're kicking right to left. Off the hold of Charlie Langford, this would be a 32-yard field goal by Brandon Marquez. There's the snap. It's down. The kick is up. That looks really good from here, unless it's off to the right.
Nope.
It is off to the right. Yep, it didn't hook enough, and Frederick still has life in this game. They still have life with 11:51 to go. 21-7. Man, had he just kicked it a little bit off to the left, that would have been good. It had the distance. But Frederick barely touched the football, and Fort Morgan did accomplish holding that ball for well over 7 minutes. And, you know, the one thing you smell here is perhaps a turnover. But the game now is not over. It is not over since it's a 2-possession game. In the first minute of the 4th quarter. 1st and 10 at the 20. This Fort Morgan defense has been great in the playoffs. There is the toss right. That is River Lakey to the outside. Breaks out of a tackle across the 25, down at the 28-yard line. The one thing he's got is speed. Colin Duckworth made the hit. It's a gain of 8. And let's see if they go to him a little bit more instead of Cruz Zamudio, who has struggled all game. In fact, Zamudio has 4 yards on 7 carries. Lakey on 4 carries has got 22 yards.
Right, and that time they went outside, which they have stayed away from, trying to get to the edge.
On 2nd down and 8 from their own 28-yard line. Make it 2nd and 2 from the 28-yard line. There's the handoff to Lakey, and he's got a first down, grabbed around the waist across the 30 to the 32 for a gain of 4. Again, the Mustangs trying to disallow big plays. Noah Aguirre made the tackle for Fort Morgan.
Yeah, they've got away from errors completely, and that's been their workhorse, but they've been going to other guys right now.
Well, Parker Ayers had a touchdown in the opening half, has 3 carries for 3 yards since then. From the 32, play action. Conover looks to throw, sets up. Now he'll take off with a football, and he breaks out of a tackle. He's got the right sideline to the 45, and McCoy runs him out of bounds, but that's a first down for the Frederick Warriors at a gain of about 14 yards for Bryce Conover. Fort Morgan nearly had a sack instead. Conover with his 4th carry for 45 yards. And he stops the clock, even though Frederick has all 3 timeouts. The clock is not a factor yet, but if Frederick is stopped here, it will be a factor. And that Fort Morgan defense did the job again, because on the previous drive they got in the red zone, and on a 4th and 12, it was an incomplete pass. 1st and 10 at the 46-yard line. Frederick on their own side of the field, trailing 21-7. There's the counter to Parker Ayers running to his right. He stutter steps to the inside, and he's short of a first down, but across the 50 to the 45. That's a gain of 9. And that's the biggest gain for Parker Ayers since his first carry of the game before the Mustangs were able to make the play. Yeah, they score here, gentlemen. It's a new game.
They just substituted Alcon, Ortiz, and Paxton back in there. So maybe they were giving some of their starters a little bit of a breather.
Lutheran has defeated Palisade 49-7. 2nd and 1, and now Frederick calls a timeout. Well, you can afford to do that once, but you don't want to use 2 timeouts here fairly early in the 4th quarter, as Fort Morgan leads 21-7 with 9:59 to go in the game. You still feel good about Fort Morgan's effort and performance. They just couldn't finish off the previous drive.
Yeah, they had possession for just a little over 7 minutes. So if they can, and right now, the Warriors started this with 11:51. They've taken almost 2 minutes off of the clock themselves. So if they can if the Mustang defensively can just keep that as 2, 3, 4 yards, they're going to take another 4 or 5 minutes off the clock, and that'll help the Mustangs immensely.
Well, that's a positive play already for Fort Morgan by the very fact that they called a timeout.
Yeah.
So that certainly helps. That's like 20 seconds going off the clock, or 30 or 40 seconds going off the clock. 2nd down and 1 for Frederick at the Fort Morgan 45-yard line. Conover will turn. No, he'll play action, looking to throw wide open underneath, and Ayers has got it at the 42. The left sideline to the 30. A cut to the inside to the 20. Ayers still on his feet. First down inside the 15 to about the 12.
Lakey, I believe, is who that is.
It was
Yep.
Lakey, excuse me. That was Lakey. Wide open was Lakey, and the gain is 30 yards in the play. And again, River Lakey with a catch. I don't know why I said the other guy.
And that's just that wheel route that kind of hurt us on one play last week. Fort Morgan doesn't seem to have a defense for that.
Now Parker Ayers is in the backfield along with Lakey. 1st and 10 at the 12. Fort Morgan, Zamudio's in motion to the right. The pitch to Ayers, back up the middle. He's got a seam, and tackle for behind across the 10 to the 6 by Levi McCoy. That's one of his better gains of the game. The gain of 6-yard line, and Ayers is getting going again. His last 2 carries have gone for 15 yards. And Fort Morgan's going to have to answer if they don't score here. If they do score here, I should say.
Yeah, they're not out of the woods yet by any means, so...
2nd down, yeah, exactly. 2nd and 4 for the 6-yard line. The lone setback is River Lakey. Rolling out to his right is Conover. Throwing underneath. The pass is caught right at the first down marker. Maybe a first down for Alex Stern, who was leveled there by Wheatley. I think they got him all the way down to the 1. Yeah, they're going to spot it at the 1 for a gain of 5. Nice pattern there. Stern with 3 receptions for 50 yards.
And again, they have to turn to the pass to stay with us.
Well, but it did work.
Yep.
Well, they're not going to pass now. Not first and goal at the 1. Under 8.5 to go in the game. Fort Morgan has a 14-point lead. Conover is going to hand it off, and that's a touchdown for Cruz Zamudio running left into the end zone from a yard out. And it's now 21-13 Fort Morgan, and now the extra point to be attempted by Bone. That's a nice response from that long drive Fort Morgan put together off the missed field goal by Marquez from 32 yards out, as they went right down the field. And another big extra point is coming up here for Frederick. And that one is up and good. We have 8 minutes and 10 seconds to go in the game. It's Fort Morgan 21, Frederick 14 on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. Frederick has responded with a touchdown, and it came from Cruz Zamudio, 1-yarder, completing the drive. It went right down the field after the missed field goal, 80-yard drive, and it's now 21-14. Fort Morgan with 8 minutes and 10 seconds to go in the game. A Fort Morgan score would certainly seal the deal. I don't think there's any question about that. And now do they go to the squib or a variation of it? Bone is going to squib it, and it's fielded by a Mustang at the 45. Elvin Yanez went to his knees. And they've got great field position again. And you know what that tells you? I mean, that Fort Morgan return game has been great all season, Kevin.
Right. And we haven't gotten to see it much lately because no one wants to kick to them.
Well, but all they need is a field goal here. That's all they need. You get a field goal here with a non-passing team, and I shouldn't say non-passing, but limited passing team. That's going to make it tough. Because Conover has thrown 2 interceptions today, and the one that really killed him was the second one to Frank Ortega, a 54-yard return that set up Fort Morgan's touchdown before the end of the opening half. First and 10 from their own 45. Is this Frank Ortega time? He'll get the football right up the middle, and he's swallowed up after a gain of 2 and driven back at the 47-yard line. This is where your offensive line has got to prove their might as well. Frank is up to 80 yards on 16 carries. And they're not going to lose here with Frank Ortega, with Briggs Wheatley as well. He's going to be the one that's going to carry the ball. That's who they're going to win with or lose with in any game this season. You go with your weapons, your best weapons. Second down and 8, under 8 minutes to go in the game. Fort Morgan 21, Frederick 14 in this 3A quarterfinal. The winner to face Lutheran, a 49-7 winner over Palisade. Awaiting the snap is Wheatley. Has the football. He'll keep it himself on the option right to the 50-yard line. Back to the middle to the 45. A first down to the 42-yard line for Briggs Wheatley. He saw the seam and was able to gain. Let's see. He's pick up, to the 41.
From
the 40. Yep, so it's a gain of 12 for Briggs Wheatley. How about Briggs? He's up to 86 yards on 12 carries. So you have 2 guys approaching 100 yards. Between Wheatley and Ortega, they've got 166 yards total. That's just on the ground, and Wheatley has thrown in this game for 131 yards, but only 28 in the second half. On first and 10 from the 41-yard line. That eats up even more time. They don't want to get into field goal range. They want to get into the end zone. This is the give to Ortega up the middle. A nice seam across the 40 to the 36. Tackled around the ankles by Chris Baum, a 6'1", 265-pound senior. And they'll backtrack it to the 37-yard line. Second down and 6 yards to go for Fort Morgan.
Let that clock run.
That's right.
Pick up 4 or 5 yards of run, and 6:13, 6:12 left here. It started with 8:10, so they've taken 2 minutes off the clock so far.
Yeah, that's all they're doing. All they're doing here is allowing that play clock to run down and just matriculate the ball down the field. Here's Ortega again running to his left, and he's trapped. He breaks out of a tackle across the 35 to about the 32. He should have been thrown for a loss, but Frank Ortega's so tough. He made 0 yards into 5, and all of a sudden, why they give him the 33?
Third down.
Well, third down and now about 2 yards. He thought he got to the 32. Long count. They're trying to draw him off sides. It's at the 33. Have to get to the 31 with 5.5 to go in the game. I thought he dove to the 32, but his knee must have been down prior to that. But it's still a gain of 4. Ortega's up to 88 yards on 18 carries. Will Briggs Wheatley carry it this time? We'll find out on 3rd down and 2 from the 33-yard line. The snap to Briggs is right there. Handoff. Ortega first down across the 30. Just smash mouth football for Fort Morgan. He was just looking to drive his legs across that first down marker, and he got to the 29. That's 3 consecutive 4-yard carries, and as a defense, that drives you crazy.
Yeah, they're doing a great job here, and he's putting 2 hands on that ball. He's not going to have to take the chance of having that ball ripped out of there.
Yep, so now we're just taking away the time, playing a little smash mouth Fort Morgan style football, and getting ready to go play Lutheran. But we still got a little bit of work to do.
Yep. 4 minutes and 42 seconds left in the 4th period.
1st and 10 from the 29-yard line. And there was a timeout called by Fort Morgan.
Timeout, Mustangs.
I think Briggs was unhappy about that. He thought he must have had a play that was going to work. But it looked like about the time they snapped that ball, I think Fernando out here had jumped forward a little bit to get up on the line of scrimmage, so that wasn't going to cut it.
It's at the 29. And a timeout. The Mustangs with a 21-14 lead with 4:37 to go here in the game. And just driving into.
Let's make sure what they want to do here and make some positive yards and keep that clock running and see if they can punch it into the end zone for another 2-touchdown lead here with be well under maybe 3 minutes to go, but we'll see what happens here.
And like you mentioned a couple plays ago, keep both hands on the ball and secure that thing.
1st and 10 at the 29. Of Frederick. Up by 7 here in this 3A quarterfinal. Ortega to the left of the quarterback, Briggs Wheatley. And there's the give to Ortega. Hit at the line of scrimmage, but is able to drive for a yard. And now timeout is called by Frederick at the 28-yard line. That's their last gasp. They got to stop the clock. They've got 1 timeout remaining.
They must have had a run blitz of some sort there, and the guy happened to come through the hole that Frankie was going in, and Frankie was, ran through him to get at least 1 yard out of the play.
Timeout, Frederick.
So it's at the 28-yard line.
Yeah, Frankie kind of laid a lick on him, too. It was a pretty good hit right there in the hole, but Fort Morgan has got to do something a little bit more than that. Try to get a first down here, or at least get closer for a field goal.
Well, if Fort Morgan holds on, again, they face Lutheran on the road.
Second down for the Mustangs after the timeout.
Yep, Roosevelt winning 36-21 over Holy Family with right at the end of the 3rd. Meade now 14-7 over Durango, and Lutheran 49-7 in the final in a shortened game because of the running clock.
The Mustangs have a 2nd down and 9 to go at the 28-yard line. 1 more first down basically seals the deal. Wheatley is back to throw. Pressure coming out to his left. Caught underneath by Fajardo at the 30. He's got the 25. Stumbles at the 25. A flag is down at the 10 to the 5. Touchdown is going to be called back. There was an illegal block there by Fort Morgan at about the 24-yard line. They threw the flags towards Chase Redding. That will nullify the touchdown, and that's too bad because there was a seam there, and Frederick is going to get a big break. Oh, man, you love that receiver screen. They allowed They allowed the defense to come in. That is a hold.
And that's better than a crackback block or something like that, which would be 15 yards.
Still second down.
It'll be back at the 33-yard line. Oh, that changes everything right now. Now you're looking at a 2nd down and 14 to go for Fort Morgan. 4:22 to go in the game. Fort Morgan 21, Frederick 14. And they've got 2 receivers out to the right, 1 to the left. Ortega's the lone setback. Out to the right of the quarterback. Briggs Wheatley got to come up with a special play right now. Low snap, rolling out to his right is Wheatley. He's got running room, throws along the sideline. Incomplete. That's not the right play. Or Fajardo was well covered. Well, I thought he would run with the football. There was no way. He's throwing against his body along the sideline. And that's not going to get the job done. 3rd down.
No, that's a tough way to go, trying to throw against your body.
And it stops the clock, which is something you don't want to do.
Well, and the passing game in the second half has been awful. Wheatley is 1 out of 7 for 28 yards, and that's it. That was a completion to Fajardo in the second half. In the first half, 8 of 11 for 103 yards. So it's 3rd down and 14 to go. Almost 15 at the 33-yard line. Wheatley with a 5-step drop, stepping up into the pocket, runs to his left, takes off to the 30, down the middle to the 20, breaks out of a tackle, 1st down for Briggs Wheatley. What a play to the 13. Holy mahungus, it's a gain of about 20 yards and a 1st down. Let's see where they place that football. Yeah, it's at the 13. And that might have sealed the deal even if Fort Morgan does not get into the end zone. And Wheatley has 106 yards now on 13 carries.
4 minutes left. Taking 4 minutes off the clock.
And they'll backtrack the football now to the 14-yard line.
He had all kinds of room. All the receivers have gone downfield and taken their defenders with him, and it was wide open once he got past the line of scrimmage.
And as you said earlier, we're going to get to the next round with the legs of Briggs and Frankie.
There's the handoff to Ortega up the middle, dives to about the 11. And now the final timeout is called. And the gain is a couple for Frank Ortega. Let's check out his yardage. He's at 95 unofficially.
Gain about 3 yards on the play. 2nd down.
Yep, you got to get to the 3. That was at the 13 to the 11. And the clock is now at 3:33 to go. So Frederick is going to get the ball back. I mean, if you get a 1st down, well, here's the way they wouldn't get the ball back. If you pick up a 1st down 2 plays from now, then you're down to about 2 minutes to go, and you could take the knee 3 times inside of the 3-yard line.
Right.
But I think, knowing Fort Morgan's mentality, you want to finish this game strong and not necessarily go into victory formation.
Not with 2.5 minutes, 2 minutes left.
Right. Brush now leads University 28-12. Make it Severance, I should say. University down to Eaton 33-18. So looks like it'll be Brush and Eaton.
Some old familiar foes there, huh?
You got that right. We'll be with you from Parker at 1 o'clock next Saturday unless Fort Morgan does something that we don't expect here. 2nd down and 8 to go at the 11. They still have not sealed this game yet. There is Wheatley keeping himself. He's thrown for a loss back at the 15-yard line, and they read that perfectly. And, oh, boy, there was nearly a fight out there. An offensive lineman for Fort Morgan getting up very unhappy. And now there's a flag, and this is going to go up maybe against Fort Morgan. Boy, it looked like somebody did something to Randall Paxton. He was not happy about it. And if they draw Fort Morgan out of field goal range with the clock stopped, now there's further trouble. It's a loss of 4, by the way, back to the 15 for Wheatley.
Yeah, I'm not sure just who it's on. I thought I saw one of the refs pointing like this towards Frederick, but we'll see what happened.
I mean, Paxton got up like somebody did something to him that was not clean football. But I have no idea. I have no idea. We can only speculate from this standpoint. But it changes everything. Right now, if the clock stops and that's against Fort Morgan, you're out of field goal range. You've got 3:18 to go. Frederick thinks then they might have a chance. This will be a dead ball foul, personal foul against Fort Morgan. So that football is going to be back at about the 30-yard line, and Ty Davies is going to come unglued. And now he wants the official out there. He wants an explanation as to exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And if he was just trying to get out from up under the pile,
Well,
it can't be.
Well, I don't know, but, they can't throw in another penalty against Fort Morgan here, because now what you've got is a third down and close to 27 to go. They have to get to the 3. That ball's just inside the 30. Now, this is typical Fort Morgan to be in a long down situation and pick up the first down. They've done it so many times this year.
That's right.
We'll call it third down and 27. They're just inside the 30. They're out of field goal range right now. And the clock has restarted. Naked backfield, 2 receivers split each side. Wheatley, quarterback keeper, up the middle, breaks a tackle now at the 25. And Wheatley's going to be tackled at the 22 for a gain of 8. Do they dare try a field goal here? You don't want that field goal blocked either. I think they got a better chance of just going for it.
Yeah.
And what Fort Morgan's going to do right now is they're going to let the play clock run down and probably call a timeout. They don't need that timeout later. They can call it now. It's a 4th down and 19 to go from the Frederick 22-yard line with a 21-14 lead. And we are at under 2.5 minutes to go, 2:22, and the clock is running. You pick up a first down or a touchdown here, and obviously the game is over. Trips to the right, 1 receiver to the left. Wheatley, 2-step drop, throws it over the middle, and it's incomplete to Fajardo at the 10. Not sure exactly what that was all about. You're not going to pick up a first down there. I thought they'd just go into the end zone. Well, now the defense, which has done it all season, has got to get it done right now. No timeouts remaining for Frederick. 21-14 Fort Morgan, 2:11 to go, and Frederick has the ball at their own 22-yard line, 78 yards away from making this a 1-point game, and then they decide whether they tack on the extra point or try a 2-point conversion. Conover, back to throw, pressure up the middle. He's got running room across the 20, now along the sideline to the 30, and he steps out of bounds at the 34 for a gain of 12. And Conover has had a nice game on the ground. That's 57 yards on 5 carries.
Yeah, he's a danger back there, that's for sure, with those legs.
Fort Morgan's got to get someone spying on him, and just for that particular situation.
Well, I think this would be ideal if this game ends on an interception. I think that's what's going to happen here. Fort Morgan has 2 picks, both in the opening half. On 1st and 10, Conover sets, looks, plenty of protection. The throw is going to be incomplete. At the 50-yard line, Marquez was there, and the intended receiver was Purcell. Conover now facing a 2nd and 10 situation. He is 5 out of 11 in the game for 72 yards. He's back to throw, rolling out to his right. He might run with the football along the right sideline, and he steps out of bounds again. He got to the 40 for a gain of 6. 3rd down and 4 for Frederick. They could actually think about running the ball here. Wouldn't be a bad idea to run the ball. You've got 1:52 to go. They could run the ball, but it's a naked backfield. See, with your running game is that good, even though they've stumbled a couple of times, you pick up a first down and you get right up to there, to the line of scrimmage. And now Conover rolls out to his right. He wants to run back towards the middle. He's got a first down, I believe, right at the stick. Or are they going to call him short? Let's see. I think, no, he's right at the stick at the 44-yard line.
And then they make the mistake of hitting the ball as he was throwing the ball to the official.
Yeah, they give him a first down, and the clock has not restarted. 1:38 to go. Now it's running on 1st and 10 from the 44-yard line. And what do we have here?
I think Fort Morgan called a timeout.
Yeah, they did call a timeout. Wow.
I think I would have waited till they were a little closer to snapping it and take a little more time off. But
yeah, well, here's the one thing. You call a timeout. It's the final one for Fort Morgan, and it's not necessarily a bad play because they might be tired out there.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, it's the fatigue factor. That's why you call the timeout. You don't want that timeout called too close to the goal line
No.
because then you got to make the play with that fatigue factor. But now it's all about conditioning at this standpoint. 21-14, Fort Morgan is in the lead. 94 seconds to go in this 3A quarterfinal. I'm John Beltran along with Brian Nickel and Kevin Rohde. We are a few minutes past the top of the hour here in Fort Morgan. This is Morgan County's B106 KPRB. Brush Fort Morgan. 2 touchdown runs for Frank Ortega and a 14-yard pass from Briggs Wheatley to Fernando Marquez. Parker Ayers and Cruz Zamudio have scored for Frederick. Mustangs were down 7-0. Then it was 21-7 at the break. The Mustangs have been held off the board here in the second half. On that right hash mark, first down and 10 at the 44-yard line for Frederick. Back to throw is Conover. Plenty of protection. Deep up the right side. Receivers out there. Complete! He dropped it. Oh, the ball was in his hands at the 20.
Yeah.
I don't know how Stern dropped that. That was a back shoulder throw, and he dropped the ball. Wheatley was out there, but he kind of overran it. Second down and 10. That's a huge, huge break for Fort Morgan.
Yeah, he just landed on his back flat with the ball and it just popped out.
Man, you cannot throw the ball any better on a back shoulder throw. Second down and 10 at the 44-yard line. Mustangs are coming on a blitz. Conover stepping up over the middle of the pass is incomplete. That was on the ground. That's on the ground at the 41-yard line. It's incomplete. Stern was the intended receiver. No, it was called incomplete by the side official. With 1:22 to go. I mean, we could see it from here, and luckily this side official saw it perfectly. Yeah, no way you call that a completion. Now that's 3 consecutive incompletions from Bryce Conover. The Mustangs are 2 plays away from clinching this 21-14 victory. They've got to make 2 plays. They've got their best defenders out there, including Briggs Wheatley, on 3rd and 10 from their own 44-yard line. Again, 82 seconds to go in the game. 2 receivers split each side. Conover with a 5-step drop. He steps up, deep up the right side. That's going to be intercepted by Ortega at the 19-yard line, and he stepped out of bounds. And the Mustangs have sealed the victory. Ortega with his 2nd interception of the game on a pass intended for Stern, but it was well overthrown. And Frank Ortega was playing center field, and the Mustangs are going to advance here to the 3A semifinals. And even still, they're going to have to play much better next week.
Yeah.
Yep. You got to step up each week in the playoffs, that's for sure.
Yep, and that time just Conover was too strong with it that time. He just overthrew his receiver.
But do you need to go that deep? I mean, they were going for the home run with nearly 1:20 to go in the game.
Right.
Yeah,
just over 1:20 to go.
Yep, it was 3rd and 10, and Fort Morgan must have had one more timeout. They're going to...
Yeah, I thought they had used them all, but, well, I guess, do you want to make sure, or do you want to make sure that you're sure? Because all you got to do is get under center. Well, here's the other thing. They're not used to victory formation, even getting under center.
Yeah.
So that's actually an adjustment. You want to snap it because it's easy to...
And they're practicing it right now with Briggs in the center.
Yeah, you've got to go. I think that's the best timeout they've taken maybe all season.
Yeah, Daniel Cerna.
And the other thing that you do in this situation as a coach is you talk to each one of those linemen and say, don't let them goad you into, getting ejected or doing something stupid. Just go up there, and hopefully the refs will watch it, and, they won't have any contact. But going on, the last thing you want is someone not able to play next week.
Brush is minutes away from advancing to the 2A title game, leading Severance 34-18. And they would take on Eaton if they win. Eaton's only up 33-24 early in the 4th. That's a 1 against a 12. The Mustangs had the ball at their own 21-yard line. Colorado Prep scoreboard show is coming up at the bottom of the hour. We'll have it, the complete show. We will not pick it up in progress because it's only 3:07. Briggs Wheatley takes a knee, and I don't think that was under center, was it?
No.
But it doesn't matter. They do have to snap it one more time. We're under a minute to go. And Fort Morgan is going to win their 10th game of the year with an incredibly huge test ahead of them, facing Lutheran, a 49-7 winner. That would be a 1 o'clock start in Parker next Saturday right here on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. One more snap to Briggs Wheatley. Executed very easily. Awaits a snap, takes the knee, And that's it. The Fort Morgan Mustangs have advanced to the Class 3A semifinals as the 3rd seed defeats the 6th seed Frederick Warriors by a score of 21-14.
Yeah,
As there's some activity out there on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. The Mustang post-game show is brought to you by Morgan Community College. Here to make your dreams become a reality. Check them out at morgancc.edu. The Fort Morgan Mustangs stave off a rally by the Frederick Warriors and win this 3A quarterfinal at Legion Field 21-14, along with Brian Nickel and Kevin Rohde. I'm John Beltran. As Frederick got on the board first on a touchdown run from Parker Ayers from 2 yards away, his 8th carry already in the opening quarter. And that made it 7-0. Fort Morgan came right back, a 3-play drive right down the field, 10 yards from Frank Ortega, covered 55 yards, then it'd make it 14-7 on Ortega's 3-yard touchdown run. Then the key play of the first half, the 54-yard interception returned by Ortega, who had a second interception as well. And then that would set up a 14-yard pass to Fernando Marquez from Wheatley. That did the scoring for Fort Morgan, 21-7 at that point, as Frederick did score again on a 1-yard run by Cruz Zamudio. But even though Fort Morgan was shut out, Kevin, in the second half, I didn't get the feeling that the offense really stalled that much. They did move, they just couldn't get into the end zone.
Right. They played good enough to eat up a lot of time and make Frederick go the long distance on their drives. Would have been nice to see him score a little bit more, but I think they were still holding back and not using Briggs as much as they would, in a situation where things were desperate. So
if they have a chance against Lutheran next week, they're going to have to play, Brian, not the way they did today, but probably the way that Kevin alluded to against Roosevelt. Smash mouth and just meet them point for point, because anything shy of that, they're a 3 seed. You're not supposed to make the finals as a 3 seed, but anything shy of that type of performance. And Lutheran, which has won every game against Colorado teams by 40 points or more, is going to send Fort Morgan home. So they got to pick it up even more next week.
Yeah, that's for sure. This offense will have to pick it up. And but this defense is also Frederick had averaged 44 points a game, held them to 14. And they've done that all year. I mean, they'll bend but don't break when they get down in there close. And their offense was also part of their good defense today. They had 2 drives, well over 7 minutes, kept that Frederick offense off the field. So that's going to have to come into play next week if they want to continue on. They'll have to have some ball control offense to keep that ball away from Lutheran, keep that offense on the sideline. So we'll see what happens. But one of the top 4 teams in the state in 3A is nothing to sneeze at. So.
Well, the Mustangs had 335 yards of total offense, 213 for Frederick. Cruz Zamudio's had a huge year for Frederick. He was held to 5 yards on 8 carries, even though he got a touchdown. Parker Ayers, 13 carries for 60 yards. Bryce Conover actually had the majority of the offense there. He had 7 carries for 67 yards. We'll check that. I did miss one here. Lakey. Let's see, Lakey did run for a pretty decent amount. He had 56 yards on 6 carries, so that ups the total to 269 on offense to 335 for Fort Morgan. Alex Tern, the leading receiver, he had 3 receptions for 50 yards. Meanwhile, for the Mustangs, boy, talk about workhorses. Frank Ortega, 21 carries for 95 yards and 2 touchdowns. Briggs Wheatley, 15 carries for 110 yards. And Wheatley really struggled through the air in the second half. He was 8 out of 11 for 103 at the break. He finishes 9 out of 18 for 130 yards. But Fort Morgan did not turn the ball over. They come up with 3 turnovers. Could have been a 4th had they recovered a fumble. That's the only concern. You win this game by 7, and you took care of the football. You have to win the turnover battle next week, Kevin, and perhaps win it by a wide margin like you did today.
Right. I think next week the weather's going to determine a lot of things. If we get up there and it's windy and that affects Lutheran's passing game. We've talked all season long about Fort Morgan's secondary being one of the best secondaries we've seen. it's still open up there. They score a lot, but they may be scoring a lot against teams that don't have the defense that Fort Morgan does.
That's a good point. All right, so Fort Morgan ends Frederick's season 9-2 record for Frederick. The Mustangs at 10-1. So Kevin Schaefer will have a scoreboard update here coming up momentarily for the Colorado Prep Scoreboard Show at 3:30. But we'll tell you in 3A, as Brush has looks like 35-18 over Severance. Somebody promised me a lunch in the Brush community. My predicted score was 27-13. Now, 35-18 is not that score, but I think it's close enough. I'm going to have to call them out on it. But anyway, we'll see. That's not the final score yet. But in 3A, Roosevelt has beat Holy Family 51-27, or they have the lead. Meade has defeated Durango 14-13. So there will be a new champion in Class 3A. As we mentioned, Lutheran over Palisade 49-7. Fort Morgan, obviously a winner here today. So we'll be back on the air with you next Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock right here on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. Colorado Prep Scoreboard Show is less than 15 minutes away. For Brian Nickel and Kevin Rohde, I'm John Beltran. The final score from Legion Field, the final home game of the 2021 season as the Mustangs get it done in the 3A quarterfinals, defeating the Frederick Warriors 21-14 on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network.